So we're going to go through how to solve two-step equations, and we're going to do, there's 3 different types. And as you can see, there's 3 different boxes for this interactive notebook foldable. And there's a little different way to solve each one of them, okay? You can see that the first 2, you're going to follow pretty much the same steps, and then you're going to swap steps for the type 3, which is the very bottom box. So flip open your interactive notebook and let's look at this first box that says 4x plus 3 equals 15. Okay? Same thing, same rules apply. You're still going to draw, and I will always recommend that you do this, is to draw your railroad tracks, okay? So you're going to draw your railroad tracks. Now, step 1, you want to think about doing order of operations backwards. So if we looked at order of operations, what is the last step in order of operations? Subtraction or addition. So you're going to look at like PEMDAS and you're going to go backwards up the ladder. Okay, so we're going to add or subtract our constant first. So if we look at where our variable is, so here's our variable, is at x, right? That is the side that we're going to look at. So our step 1 is to add or subtract the constant. So are we going to add or subtract something? What's the opposite of what you see?
Division.
So we're looking at So we're looking at our constant. What is our constant out of this? It's not the 4. The 4 is our coefficient. We're looking at that positive 3. That positive 3, remember if we look up here, the constant is a number that's being added or subtracted to the variable. So step 1 is to add or subtract the constant. In this case, it's going to be that positive 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Okay? When we do that, our 3's cancel out. Now this entire thing comes down. So we have 4x equals 15 minus 3 gives us 12. Okay? Now, our second step is going to be to either divide or multiply. Well, in this case, we're going to divide by the coefficient. So what is my coefficient?
The 4x.
Not the x, just the
4.
Just the 4. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. 4 over 4 cancels out, and I'm left with just x equals 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. For this type 1 two-step equation, the process doesn't change. Add or subtract the constant, divide by the coefficient. Okay, let's look at the one right next door to it. Same thing, it's still a step 1, but now we just have a negative. So, what's my step 1?
Add 10 to both.
Well, we can't add 10 to both sides.
Subtract.
Yes. So add or subtract the constant. In this case, we're subtracting 10 from both sides.
Which would give you 65.
So our 10's cancel out. This negative 5x is going to come down because we can't get rid of that yet. Now now my step 2 is to what? No, we're going to divide by my coefficient.
Oh, you're dividing because it's the opposite.
Correct. Yup. And we're dividing this whole thing by -5. You need to make sure that you're dividing by that coefficient is a -5, okay? So you need to divide by the entire thing. -5 over -5 cancels out. X equals 65 divided by -5 gives me a what?
-13.
-13. Very good. Okay. Let's just work there for right now. So this is our type 2. This is our type 2 for two-step equations. Now you'll notice with this one, we still have a constant. We still have a number that is being added or subtracted to the variable. But this time, instead of having a coefficient, we have a denominator. Okay? The variable has a denominator. So our first step, obviously, draw railroad tracks. But step 1 is going to be to add or subtract the constant. In this case, what is my constant?
-3.
Right, so what is the opposite of a -3? Good, so we're going to add 3 to both sides. We add 3 to both sides. Our 3's cancel out. This entire piece drops down. Okay? Now, the step that changes is our second step. And that is, our second step is to, I'm going to put a little asterisk here. That little star means multiplication. We're going to multiply both sides by denominator. The denominator is the bottom part of our fraction. So in this case, our denominator is 4. So we're going to multiply the right side and the left side by 4. So multiply this side by 4. Multiply the other side by 4. Notice I'm using the parentheses to delineate that we're multiplying. Okay. 4. Those 4's cancel out on the left-hand side, leaving me with just x.
X equals 40.
10 times 4 gives me 40. Okay? Let's take a look at one with a negative on it. So we'll go right next door. Like I said, the process for these type 2s doesn't change. Okay? All right, so step 1. Add or subtract my constant. What am I going to add or subtract?
Subtract the 9.
Good. We're subtracting the 9 from both sides. On the left, my 9's cancel out. I'm going to bring down my x over -3. Bring down my equal sign. -4 minus 9. Same signs, add them up. So it's going to be a -13. My step 2.
Is to multiply.
Yup, multiply.
-3 with 2 cancel out. And then -3 times 13 equals 36. -36.
It's not going to be a -36.
39.
Same multiplication rules for integers is negative times a negative is a positive.
So it'll be +36.
Correct.
I don't know how I just did
All right.
That's sweet.
No, it's 39. Hold on a second. Let me erase. Nope.
Yeah.
Come on,
that. Yeah,
erase.
I just did. I added a 3 to
Yeah, this has to be a 9.
again.
All right.
-30.
All right, so these are type 3 two-step equations. Basically, what you're going to do is take what we did in the type 2 and exactly reverse the order, because we need to get rid of the denominator first before you can do anything
So
else.
This is wrong.
So, yes. So you need to first get rid of your denominator and then do your addition. This is the only kind of problem that does this. All right? So what we're going to do first, and we are going to draw draw your railroad tracks, and I'll write some directions down here. So step 1, you're going to multiply by the denominator, okay? Again, because we know that denominator number, we know, like in this example, we know that 4 is dividing whatever is up top, right? So that's x plus 3 divided by 4. So we need to multiply by 4 on both sides to get rid of that. So we're going to multiply by 4. And because this is a fraction, if you really wanted to, you could write it like this as well. It would still mean the same thing. Make some people feel better. If we multiply by 4 over 1, multiply by 4 over 1. This.
So we're multiplying 7.
Yeah, you have to multiply both sides by the denominator. So the 4's will cancel out. Now this entire piece comes down. So you get x plus 3 equals 7 times 4, which is 28.
So you have the negative. Do you have to change the 3 into the positive 3 into negative 3?
Correct. So now, step number 2, absolutely. You're going to either add or subtract that constant, which in this case is going to be that 3. So in order to get rid of it, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Good.
That's a negative. It's a positive 25.
So you get x equals
Negative 25.
positive 25.
That was fun.
All right.
Wait,
Some think, like, I have some students that think, like, these are, like, easier for some reason because, like, once you get rid of
they
that.
are easy.
So,
I think it's easier.
all right, let's look at this one. This one is the same thing. We just have now incorporated a negative, so you just have to be careful about that. So our step 1 is still the same. Multiply both sides by denominator. Okay, so we're going to multiply this side by negative 7. Multiply this side by negative 7. Cancels. I'm left with x minus 2 equals negative 21. And then we're going to add or subtract our constant, which in this case is a negative 2. So we got to do the opposite. So we're going to add 2. So I get x equals
Negative 21 is plus 2 equals negative 19.
correct. Okay?
That's it.
And that's all she wrote. So that's all. So that is all 3 types. So
No, no, your hard work.
yeah, no, we're
That
not.
was fun.
Racy. Okay. So type 1 up top. And then type 2. And then type 3 in the middle. Be sure you have all the notes and everything taken down and all the steps
Yeah.
in order for this to be complete.